What's up, Vegas? We got the dub. Heading back. See y'all on Tuesday.
The Las Vegas Aces have been one of the most powerful teams in the WNBA, but behind the scenes, things might not be as flawless as they seem. Sydney Colson, a crucial locker room personality and a fan favorite, recently went up about why she truly left the club, and let's just say it didn't sit well with A.A. Wilson supporters believe that Colson's exit was simply a result of standard roster changes, but her most recent remarks made it abundantly evident that something more was happening behind closed doors. What did she
So, Sydney Colson is obviously a player for the Indiana Fever. Someone signed to be Caitlin Clark's backup, and she is a
disclose? And why did Wilson react so strongly? This is a significant development in the game. As the Las Vegas Aces prepare for a new season, teams constantly rearrange their rosters, make trades, and let go of players. Sydney Colson's departure was expected to be just another off-season move, but when she recently revealed why she truly left, it set off a chain reaction that nobody could have predicted. The face of the Aces, A'ja Wilson, didn't simply brush it off.
The old idiot old WNBA media journalists say that she has been brought in to replace Caitlin Clark. That the Fever have realized Caitlin Clark because Stephanie White said we're going to be trying to play Caitlin Clark off the ball a little bit and running different stuff. According to some people, I can't remember where I read it, but they believe that Sydney Colson is actually coming in to start at the point guard.
For those who
Instead, she reacted in a way that made it obvious that she wasn't happy. Fans began to wonder almost immediately why Wilson, a player renowned for her poise and leadership, would be so upset about Colson's remarks. What specifically did Colson say that touched so many people in the third place? For those unaware, Sydney Colson was more than just a hapless bench player. She was a leader, a veteran, and someone who maintained the team's reputation in the locker room, even though she wasn't a star on the court. Wrong chemistry. When she departed, most people thought it was just part of the business because the Aces had larger names to focus on AA. However, every great team needs a player like Colson, who may not always light up the scoreboard, but knows how to hold a team together. Wilson Plum, Kelsey. In a recent interview, Colson broke her silence and made some cryptic yet revealing statements about her time with the Aces. She hinted that her departure wasn't just about basketball, but about something deeper, talking about internal frustrations. Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young were still the WNBA's powerhouse, so her departure wasn't expected to be a big deal. Teen dynamics and feeling unappreciated. She didn't confront anyone directly, but her speech made it clear that she wasn't being taken seriously. The speculation began as soon as those comments appeared on social media, with fans going crazy. Did Colson get fired? Did she have problems with the coaching staff? Did she feel disrespected by some teammates? Then, the most important question of all, was there tension between Colson and A.A. Wilson? That's when things really started to get weird. Wilson has a reputation for being a strong leader who defends her squad, stands up for her teammates, and keeps things in-house. However, her reaction to Colson's remarks made it obvious that she wasn't happy with how things were going. She took to social media almost immediately, without mentioning Colson by name, but her posts were full of meaning. She discussed how real teams keep things in the family, how winning requires sacrifices, and even made a comment that sounded like a direct call-out, saying that some people simply don't understand what it takes. This was enough to spark a flurry of theories. Why would Wilson feel the need to react so strongly if Colson's departure was merely business-related? If there was no real drama, why not just wish her former teammate well and move on? This wasn't just frustration, it was personal, and the key question now is what exactly transpired behind closed doors. Colson felt marginalized in the locker room, according to one idea that began to gather popularity. The Aces have always had a solid, core group of players, but as time goes on, power dynamics begin to change, with certain players organically becoming the team's voices while others fade. In the backdrop, is it possible that Colson felt excluded? Did she think her leadership was no longer appreciated? Did she question the team culture in a way that upset Y and the others? It's no secret that the Aces have previously been scrutinized. Just take the case of Dara Hammy, who was viewed as a key member of the team until she abruptly left and accused the Aces of mistreating her by pushing her out unfairly and not supporting her during her pregnancy. This incident revealed a side of the aces that fans had not previously seen and demonstrated that even championship teams aren't always flawless behind the scenes. Now, with Colson's remarks, people are beginning to question whether there is something more serious going on within the AC's organization. Wilson's response merely fuels the rumors, since if Colson's remarks were untrue, there would be no reason to react. Just ignore it and move on. Wilson is a competitive individual who dislikes chaos. She wants to win and doesn't want any outside distractions to interfere. Perhaps she is aware of Colson's remarks as a threat to the team's focus, or is it more than that? Does she know Colson is telling the truth, but she simply doesn't want it to be known? One thing is certain, though. This story won't be going away anytime soon. Wilson's response has only made things worse, and now the media, fans, and even former players are closely watching to see what happens next. Will Wilson provide any additional details? If there's one thing we've learned from the WNBA in recent years, it's that players aren't scared to call out injustice anymore. And if Colson was the first, this could be the start of a much larger controversy surrounding the Las Vegas Aces. Will Wilson take this issue head-on, or will more former Aces players come forward and start speaking their truth? The WNBA has been rocked by Sydney Colson's bombshell revelation regarding her departure from the Las Vegas Aces, but A.A. Wilson's response that raised the bar. Despite without naming people, Colson's remarks over her departure turned what should have been a regular summer roster move into one of the year's greatest issues. The annoyances, lack of assistance, and sense of undervaluation all indicated internal turmoil in the Aces organization, and Wilson's immediate and angry reply that further strengthened the suspicions of the fans. What actually transpired behind the scenes after Colson touched a nerve, and more significantly, is this only the start of a larger scandal that is developing in Las Vegas? Let us dissect it. Wilson's response is an indication of guilt. A'ja Wilson is no stranger to controlling the narrative. She is the face of the Las Vegas Aces, a back-to-back champion, and one of the most influential players in the league. When she speaks, people pay attention. However, her response to Colson's remarks wasn't the cool, collected response you'd expect from a leader. Rather, it was emotional, defensive, and aggressive. She didn't just brush it off. Rather, she went out of her way to address it, tweeting, "Winning isn't for everybody," which was obviously a direct jab at Colson. However, Colson never mentioned that she couldn't handle the pressure, so why did Wilson take it that way? When people get defensive, it usually means they don't want to be seen. Wilson escalated it into an assault, which begs important questions. If there was actually nothing going on behind the scenes, why would Wilson feel the need to cut off the conversation so abruptly? Wilson isn't just answering Colson. She's trying to silence her, and that's where the interesting power struggles and locker room tension begin. The WNBA's Aces have been